If we can get past some of these sound blips or retweets or whatever they are and hear the substance. That was the point of the meeting. The meeting was never about endorsing. We made history today. We put better than 100 black preachers in a room with a GOP candidate. That's never been done before.
Did he listen?
He absolutely listened to us. This wasn't the first time. Third meeting with him. And in previous times, we just didn't have the time to get into our issues. But as the more we got into the issues, we determined that it was necessary for us to come back again today.
So you don't think he's a racist?
I don't believe that. Again, I believe that his ego and his gravitas is so big that he doesn't have to pander to anyone. And I don't believe that I was being pandered to, or as some say that we are his token, so to speak, in order to go out and grab votes for him. That's not the case.
All right, so Reverend, let me ask you. You were invited to the meeting. You chose not to attend. You are here in New York today, but you chose not to attend.
Yes.
You just heard Pastor Davis say he doesn't feel he was being pandered to. He doesn't feel Donald Trump's a racist.
Yeah, I think that he's a pawn. I think it's regrettable. I'm here as a preacher and as a black man to say that I vehemently oppose the candidacy of somebody who has been outlandishly offensive to every minority group in the country. From the Latino community, African Americans, women, physically challenged, and all the more Pastor James and Bishop Scott, who was the chair of this meeting, come from Cleveland. For a year, the Cleveland community has been in an outcry looking for justice for Tamir Rice. And Donald Trump hasn't spoken to any of that. We've not heard anything about mass incarceration, nothing about economic inequity, nothing about militarization of police. And the reality is, this meeting was pulled together because of a rally that took place in Alabama, where a protester from Black Lives Matter was roughed up, and Donald Trump said to the press that he believed he deserved to be roughed up. Now, to that end, if you will not meet with Black Lives Matter protesters, let me find 100 black preachers who are not civically and socially engaged, who will in fact find a connection to the Black Lives Matter protesters who are engaged with this conversation.
All right.
It is a very disheartening.
So, yeah, let's have a conversation
If I could jump in right there, because we're talking about Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, that discussion doesn't need to be had on Fifth Avenue. That discussion needs to be had at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue underneath our current administration. All these things that are going on right now in our communities is because of the people that are in charge right now, and not necessarily the ones that are coming down the pipeline. With respect to Black Lives Matter, with respect to our issues, all of these things were addressed in this meeting. And if Dr. Bryant would I can't cut off someone because of something they said. We're not going to always like what each person says. And so I'm not throwing it away. And so even with Dr. Bryant, Dr. Bryant has gone so far to go out on Twitter and call the people that were in that room prostitutes. And I'm wondering.
He just called, let's just say, right here at this table, you just called.
Yes,
Dr. Davis a pawn.
He called me a pawn.
And
but he called them a prostitute and said that we're using our pulpits as polls.
Yes.
Okay.
Right,
so
I'd
like to give a
I'm wondering if the women in that room, the women, female pastors in that room, appreciate being called prostitutes, and I'm wondering if their husbands, in fact, agree with being called prostitutes.
I want to apologize because prostitutes get money, and the 100 that went in there walked away with nothing. They did it for free. So there's another word for that, and I would not use that language on the family channel. What I would suggest is that you couldn't find 100 white pastors to do the endorsement, not 100 rabbis, not 100 imams, but you can find whenever it is that there's poverty, wherever there's poverty, you can always find
a
capitalist
and the 100
who will
pastors.
Always exploit poor people who are privileged just to be in the room. Capitalists
and the 100
who will
pastors.
always exploit poor people.
As always, Yahweh, all day, every day. Peace.